Here we are at the Colosseum in where we are, Rome, Italy. Specific location, specifically the Colosseum. It's very big. It's kind of in like the heart of Rome. The artist responsible, so the Colosseum was built over a period of 8 to 10 years. It started back in around 70 to 72 AD. Started by Emperor Vespasian, I guess, close enough. And so he started this project. He was the ruling emperor at the time for his citizens. And then construction was taken over by his son Titus, and it was opened in 80 AD for the public. And it has 80 entrances all the way around. It is about, I think it was 500 by 600 feet. So about 30,000 square feet. 3 stories tall. It fit about 5,000 people. And they would actually sit by social ranking. So it doesn't say in what order, but I assume people with higher status, kind of like modern concerts, are going to sit. People that can afford more would sit closer to the battle versus people at the higher up had the nosebleed seats. Let's see if there's anything else. So then there were the gladiators that fought, and that was kind of like the main attraction, as well as death sentences were performed out here. And so the gladiators were actually enslaved people, mostly men, but a few women. So they were usually like criminals, and this was like their punishment. And so they would fight each other. They would fight a variety of animals. I actually saw in there that one of the animals that they used was roosters and the dodo bird, which is funny. And what's really interesting about it is that you can see, kind of where the renovations are. You can see the older stone, the older brick, and then the newer brick. So you can see when and where things have kind of been worked on. Its historical relevance is how much it gave to the people and how long it's been standing. And it was just a really big part of the culture at the time to see these brutal battles, kind of making them one of like the deadliest, brutal, just loving the bloodshed civilizations, more human, later human civilizations, no longer in that hunter-gatherer phase. I had something else. I forgot what I was going to say. What I think is really interesting about it is that it had a roof that was actually collapsible, so they could pull it in and out. And I think that technology is really interesting, knowing that it started 80 AD, and it wasn't till 5,700 years later, I think, something like that, we got our first flying machines using supported cloth that you could pull with pulleys and angle them to get you certain lift. And we actually had that technology over 1,000, almost 2,000 years before we actually came up with our first flying machine.